Hello, this is Filmtalk. I have an adjunct lecturer, at the School of Media Communication Studies, Pan-Atlantic University, Lagos. He's also the CEO of Riverside Productions, following a project coordination on MTV Shuga. He also had the producer experience at Mnet after film directing studies at New York Film Academy, Los Angeles. He graduated with insurance degree from the University of Lagos. I believe the guy has insurance stories for stories. He is a producer of feature-length movie called Sylvia, done in 2019. Producer director Light in the Dark 2019 again. Screening currently on Netflix after screening in 5 continents. Imagine that. Las Giddy Vice 2018 screening at Cannes International Film Festival. Best Short winner, Africa's biggest film awards, AMVC, that is the Africa Magic Video Choice Award. Oblivious, he did that with 2015. In 2015 with Oblivious. Then Nigerian Civil War flick The Encounter 2015 selected Best Jury Film African International Film Festival, AFRIFF, and AMVCA later. We first met during a preview of a comedy flick called One Lagos Night. That was on in 2021 for WAZOBIA Group movie. It was a WAZOBIA Group movie which he directed. He has just finished Honey Money in 2023, which is the focus of Filmtalk today. Honey Money is an action comedy and crime thriller. The logline should read like: disgruntled young man suddenly realizes he has been set up by a financial crime agency after embracing scamming to survive his father's uncaring and stubborn attitude over family welfare.
See, should I tell you the biggest crime?
Tell me.
Poverty. Look at your father. Is that the kind of life you want to be living?
Whoa. Let him come. Boss, I need job. I won't be like you, make I dey ball like you. Anything where you dey do, I go do am.
You won't make I teach?
Yes, boss. What do you do, boss?
What do they do the online transactions?
Boss, I feel do am. Timer! I feel do am. Yes, this is your account officer speaking. I feel do am. I promise you, boss. You know say I be fast learner. Anything.
Stories are stories. Performance is the only reality. Blow my mind.
So the matter be say, the office when I dey work, I want make you intercept the job.
How much be the job we will talk about?
$3.9 million.
It's first things first. Meet the girl.
What? Give me the fucking matter.
What's going on? You're scaring me. Talk to me.
Yes, baby!
Is it that you don't like the good things of life? What exactly is the problem?
I am ashamed. That's my failure as a father. And it wounds me.
You can do nothing. You know you're the time here. Oh my God, bro, I'm Alarani.
But I also think, this young man went into crime because he had a difficult family background. So therefore, shouldn't our law enforcement agencies be able to start thinking about people's background, observing them in society, and probably stop them before they start becoming criminals? Is it possible?
How many people do they want to follow? In a country of 200 million people, seriously?
Yeah, welcome to Filmtalk, Ekene Som. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
That was a good one.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so now let's kick off with, let's work out the relationship between Randy, Toby, and Angelina.
Okay.
To get our victims. How, I'm looking at Angelina.
Okay.
Was a provocateur.
Okay.
My brother.
What was she? Okay, continue.
Now, how did she? I can't even really remember when she came in and started dismantled everything that happened. Just give me a bit of the story up to that point when you got into the story. Okay,
so one of the things that made me want to do Honey Money was, awesome story. I liked the story from the onset, but the one thing that made me jump while reading the script was the introduction of Angelina. That's when I read that.
If I knew.
When I read that introduction, I was like, "What the? I want to do this." You know, so Angelina's in, I mean, you have to see the movie too, because I'm not going to spoil it. The movie just came out. But the connection, when you see the movie, you would see that there were introductions from one person to another person to another person, and that's how she came in today. Because you would see that Randy had said to Toby, I have a girl that I would like to introduce to you for this operation. You know, and Toby was initially like, do I look like someone that have girl problems?
Like women. He's long and reba.
Like, do I look like someone that have girl problems? But they needed a specific kind of girl for a specific kind of project. You know, and they knew that, I mean, these are not the girls you pick up by the streets. You know, they have to be.
I'm also intrigued by the fact that this is a guy that was educationally sound.
Yeah.
Would that have influenced his decision that what and the carry woman do?
Well, well, people that are not so into women are not necessarily because they are too much into their education. It's your personality. You know, it's your personality.
So would you now say that the father's influence really, you know, impacted on him, because the father is a strict person?
Yeah, very upright.
Very upright, incorruptible Nigerian, for God's sake. Where did he drop from?
One of those very few.
Does it mean that poverty hardened people? Was that the meaning of that?
Well, when you say poverty hardened people, do you mean for Toby or the father?
For the father. For the
father. Well, no. It's about the kind of, you know, interesting thing is that Mr. Fonja, who is Toby's dad, reminds me very, very much of my dad. You know, yeah.
And that kicked you into.
That's the kind of person that my dad was. Okay. Like, my dad was ready. If you stole, my dad was ready to report you to the police. That's the kind of person. That's the kind of person he was.
Really?
Well, yes, he was strict to that call. I mean, everybody knew him for that. He didn't know how to hide the truth. You know, he always said it, and I think that got him into trouble a lot of times.
So are you softer than your father? Is that what you want to say?
I think I have learned to be wise. Let me not say I'm wiser than my dad, but considering the kind of environment I found myself,
good.
I have learned when to do some things and when to keep quiet. I think I'll better put it that way.
At what point did Randy suspected or did not suspect or just played along? I will deal with you because you refuse to pay the money into my account.
Yeah.
Was that a point where he programmed Toby for what happened?
No, but did Randy really program Toby for what happened? You know, if you really look at it again, and that was why he said the rats they wear handcuff. You know, when they called him rats.
That guy is. That's another Peter. I love that.
You know. So I am going to try as much as I can not to spoil it, because that is the build up to the climax. But when you really look at it, it wasn't really.
So let's talk about the guy who was the background, who owned Angelina, who probably for me drove the story from the beginning, and nobody knew.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. So in storytelling, I live for the climax. You know, since I'm on TV, let me not say certain things. But I mean, of what you use, I feel like that is the crux of the story. That is where you enjoy. That's where you enjoy to the maximum.
Yes.
That's why there's a reason why it's called a climax.
Yes.
So you build up to it, and that was how it was designed. You know. So I always like it when my audience go, "What? We didn't see that coming here." I like to take them on that journey.
But to be very fair to your audience, I mean, for the sake of this film talk, let's have a glimpse of that character that was so not in the picture, and yet he was the picture. It was in the picture.
But so you know, when you give it away now, I mean, people become conscious of it, because the what makes it this sweet is the fact that you are not conscious of. You are completely oblivious of this guy.
Yeah.
Or
It
you just
wasn't
see, you see this person as though this person is not there.
It wasn't there.
Without knowing that there's
the one
someone engineering
driving
the whole thing. You know, so that's the beauty of storytelling. How you can take your audience on a journey, you know, just carry them on that journey and make them, because, you know, I say this, you know, like I said, I teach film as an adjunct faculty, and something I tell my students is this: it's a crime for you to tell a story and not take your audience through a wow moment. Because a guy is going to leave his house at probably first stack. He goes to pick his girl at Ikorodu, and God helps him that his girl doesn't have like 3 sisters who feels like watching a movie. So they're all now going to go to the cinema. The problem is not that he's going to buy 5 tickets or he's going to buy 5 drinks. He's also going to buy 5 packs of popcorn. And God helps him that some girls like shawarma. Then he's not going to go through all that stress. Then goes into the cinema and you give him something boring. Like, that's a sin. You should be arrested. At least if he's going to go through all that stress, allow him enjoy the film. You know, so the essence for me is I always want to give my audience something that they will enjoy. You know, just like you go to weddings and they give you souvenirs that you could take home. I need to give them souvenirs that they will take home with them when they leave the cinemas. Something they can always recall and like, wow, this was good.
Well, my opinion is that it goes back to what I asked you.
Yeah.
Is it possible for the society, for the system to watch people who are going to become criminal?
It's not possible. How?
But the guy did it.
How?
The guy did it. How did the guy do
He
it?
watched one person. After they caught Toby, they caught the remaining 100,000 others.
No, but the guy did it.
He did it for one person. You're talking about population of how many? Oga? Even America or Japan with their technology, they can't. They can't. It's not possible. Not in this life or in the life to come.
Which is
only God can do that.
Well, we've sort of answered the next question I was going to ask you. My first question is, how would the Gen Z react to Omowumi's correct prediction of Afolabi's attitude towards the son's girlfriend?
So, I mean, things are changing now. I mean, people are even getting married without their parents being in attendance now. You know, those days you couldn't. I mean, your parents would pick your spouse for you. So, I mean, I'm not a Gen Z, but I know that now they. But at the end of the day, you still need your parents to
approve of your marriage.
Sorry, I have to choose my words carefully here, because I don't also believe your parents have to approve of who you marry, because they are not the ones marrying the person. They are not the ones that are going to spend their time and their lives with that person.
But I found you are told off.
Yes, no, but it's because he cared about the girl. Because he didn't want her to find herself entangled in something in the nearest future that she didn't foresee coming. And that's because he's an upright person. So it wasn't for him saying, never be with this person, but how much do you know this person? And it's also very important that before you marry anyone, before you even date anyone, you should know about that. At least you might not know everything, but to a large extent have enough information to be able to make that kind of judgment.
Did you read a book by, I think, is it Sylvia Quincy or called Incorruptible Judge?
Sylvia Quincy? No, I didn't.
Okay. I was not liking this man to Incorruptible Judge. That was finally corrupted. So I'm wondering, I'm talking about the end of the movie now, when they started arresting them, why did you just not bring the man into the picture?
He's done his job. Let him rest.
I'm still talking, this is Filmtalk. I'm talking Ekene Som. Well, he's a filmmaker, he's a lecturer, and he's a director at Riverside. He's the CEO of Riverside Productions. What do you make of a mother's role in a son's relationship with their father? I mean, other than let's leave the story. I mean, let's look at the mother, let's look at the father. What do you make of what should be a mother's relationship, through the eyes of the father with the daughter or the son?
So, unfortunately, we have mothers like that. Whether we like it or not, it still exists. amongst us.
That's so greedy.
Yeah, so, and you could see that she was like opposite of her husband.
Seriously.
And sometimes too, especially with our mothers, we love our kids to a fault. You know, we love them so much that we can't even correct them. And that's wrong. You don't, like the Bible says, you don't spare the child to spoil the rod. You know. So yeah, I mean, it's human nature. It's what we have to live with. And film is supposed to imitate, art is supposed to imitate life. So
in terms of character function, let's assume that she was a mentor, a guardian to Toby, and the father was an antagonist. I mean, let's play the two characters, the father and the mother, side by side. In terms of character function, how would you, define the relationship?
So it's two things. One, so when one is left and the other is right, when one is left and the other is right, you know, you can't go both ways. You have to choose which direction you want to go. And the guy made his decision. And obviously you could tell that he's closer to his mom. So, and one of the reasons why we also have it there is that, you know how Bible says, I put before you life and death, you know, you choose one. So that's pretty much what it was like, because it makes for good story, where you have people with opposite ideas and ideology, you know, and so it's easy for you to see the conflict there, and conflict drives story.
Okay. In terms of driving the conflict between the two of them, can we have a glimpse of the backstory of the man and the backstory of the woman, if at all they had, in terms of character definition?
Don't be me write this film. So, I mean, to the best of my knowledge,
I mean, if you situate two of them in a Nigerian society,
yeah,
in a cultural milieu,
yeah,
how would you, configure or figure out their background? Would you say the father was probably born in Ibadan, conservative Ibadan, where he watched his great grandfather plant cocoa and harvest cocoa?
So if you also look at it, I was listening to a psychologist a few weeks ago talking about parenting and kids, and saying that to a large extent the personality of a child has nothing to do with the parents.
Really?
Yeah, and when I look at my own kids, you could tell some of them had already started developing this right from when they were months old. Had nothing to do with whatever it is I said to them or not. You can tell. You know, that's not to say that you cannot groom a child in the way to go. But when we're talking about the temperament of the child, we're talking about their
biosocial orientation.
Happen here. To a large extent, then that's why a father can raise two kids, give them the same thing, they went to the same school, and one ends up being a criminal, and the other one ends up being a very upright person. Because one of the things that also influences you are the people you find yourselves around, or are the people that you find yourself around with. But even before you even get to that point, there are some traits that people are born with that is just natural with them.
So would you agree with me that the guy's stubbornness, apart from the mother coaxing him into crime, also came from genetic inheritance from his father? These are two stubborn guys.
Yeah.
You agree with
Yeah,
me?
his dad was also a very stubborn person. Yeah.
And he's the way he brought up his son even made him good at school.
Yeah. So you can see again that he's an intellectual, and it was easy for his child to be able to pick that up and be interested in books. But you know, at the end of the day, your intellect does not determine whether you'll be a part of crime or not. We have very intelligent people in the prisons today. It's
Akas and the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I look at players like the guy, I don't know his name. The guy who played the father. I don't know.
Femi Branch.
Okay.
Iyabo Ojo played the mother.
Now I'm coming to Iyabo Ojo.
Interesting character.
Interesting character. I mean, yeah, can you just talk about her interpretation of the character?
Iyamojo is amazing. So I remember I first spoke with her. So because before we shot this film, I didn't have the time because I like to spend time with my actors before we go and shoot. But I had to be in the US. MIT had invited me to come. So I had to talk with a lot of them over the phone. And I remember talking with her about this character. And she was like, don't worry. Don't bother yourself. I can't even tell you what I'm going to do right now, but I know that when that time comes, I'll flow with the spirit. So I remember my first time meeting her. She was so quiet, so calm, gentle. In my mind, I was like, such a quiet, calm person. And when we go action, Jesus Christ. The way she embodies that character is amazing. Amazing. I think she's a very calm person in person. But it's just that when she wears that cap, you know, she becomes something else.
Yeah, you did a good job. I mean, during casting to have had these three people playing a family. Because like I said before, the lead character inhabited he was living his character. He wasn't acting. Femi Branch himself, I watched him in several movies. He was also living his, But let's talk about casting. I mean, this should be some form of education for those that will be casting people. How do you discover the ambience of character and, the nuances of character and be able to get them into a situation where they create conflict? I'm asking you this. I'm asking you in terms of you being a director, you using characters or players to make characters work for a scene. How do you do it?
You know, when you have actors that understand their character and are able to become those characters, the way you say it in your head and the script, it makes your work much easier. So I tell people that I don't, to a large extent, direct actors on set. Because I can't be directing you to be you. This is you. I don't need to tell you what you should do. So, and that's why I like to speak with them about the character beforehand and make them understand who this character is. And once they can understand who that character is and what that character should do and not do, what are the nuances, that from this kind of character, it makes it easy. Because they know that at this point, this character shouldn't do this, or at this point, this character shouldn't say this, or this is what this character should be doing at this point. And they leave it. You could call it method acting.
I was going to ask you that. Please explain that.
You could, but it's not so much. Everything is not about method acting at the end of the day. But there are people that understand what they ought to do, like the children of Issachar understood the times. It makes it easy, and these are professionals. And I keep saying this, that I have a lot of respect for Nigerian actors. A lot of respect. They come with their own baggage sometimes, but I have a lot of respect for them. I'll tell you why. In Hollywood, someone that is going to play a certain character would need months to develop themselves for that character. These guys are literally coming from another set to come and play this. Some of them were coming from another set just a day before, 2 days before, to come and play these characters, and when I see what they're able to pull off with just a day of preparation, I'm like, so imagine if these people had like 5 months, like some of the actors in Hollywood do, what they would do. A lot of times we don't look at some of these things. It's easy for us to just criticize.
Do we also give credit to the scriptwriter?
Oh yes, definitely. Stephen Okonkwo did a fantastic. He's an awesome guy. We're even working on another project as we speak. He's good. And he wrote the script. It's not like we gave him a story. He thought of everything. And yes, please, we give him his flowers. So,
in terms of having problems with characters, have you ever experienced it? Actors.
If you've not had problems with actors, you're not in the industry. So again, I like to look at things from different perspective, especially also looking at it from their own perspective as well. Actors can be very vulnerable because they can't see themselves. And that's why they need someone they can trust. They need a director they can trust. That you are directing them the right way, because it's their career on the line as well. You know, because they know that if they do very well, there are lots of things ahead for them. One, people would see them and love them and say, I would like this person to come and, you know, work with me. There are also awards ahead, you know, and the like. So, of course, which actor doesn't want to win awards? You know, but they need someone to be able to direct them right. And that sometimes can also, that vulnerability can make them act up, you know, sometimes. But, I mean, with stardom and wealth and popularity also comes big-headedness, you know, where you begin to think that you're more important than other people, and you shouldn't be spoken to in a certain kind of way. But to a large extent, I would say I'm probably the luckiest of them, because I've hardly had like the kind of problems I hear some other people have. I'm like
somebody, I heard somebody cried on set because for being shouted on recently.
Right? Cry?
Yeah.
Or you look for that person and the person has gone home. What do you want to do? I know that the meal shoot has finished, especially if that person is in all the scenes.
But you signed a contract.
Oh, okay. In your country that you still have cases that have been there for 10 years.
This is serious.
There are people that will say tear contract in front of you. Say you're mad. There you go court now. But I think we need to make examples of some people, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But who is ready to go down that?
Why is it that Nollywood has never ever been ready to go down that path? I don't always shy away from asking certain questions. I also bring up the issue of why is it that guild leaders are not accountable? No, can't go down that path. Why is it that you can't if somebody steals guild money, you can't take them to jail? So why is it so difficult?
And you know now they've made it such a way that you must join guild, because you cannot, the National Film and Video Censors Board will not rate your film if you're not in a guild, if the director and the producer are not in a guild. So because of that now, in a way, they have twisted us. Because if we don't get ratings for our films, we can't go to cinema and we can't license our film to platforms. It's so when you say a country is a certain way, it's not just one or two sectors. It affects every sector. So I wasn't expecting that Nollywood will be spared. It's how we've become as a people. And the people that are there are Nigerians. They're not.
Let's talk about the character called Junior Pope.
The character is actually not Junior Pope. The character is Obi Bangkok.
Okay, Obi Bangkok, played by Junior Pope.
Yes, played by Junior Pope.
Nobody does that.
Who does that? Who does that?
He also inhabited his character.
Oh, he killed it. He's one person that. Okay, let me say this. He wasn't our first option. But of course, don't worry. Even the people who marry are usually not our first option. People that married us were usually not their first option, so don't feel bad about it. But I'm glad whoever we thought about, we did not get that person. I'm glad. Because I remember from day one, from first scene that we shot, when I saw him, I was like, what? Honestly, I didn't know about him until this project. But I'll tell you, there's a big project that we're working on, and the casting director. So when we're talking, who's going to play this? I said, that guy that you worked with in Honeymoon. I was like, this is before we release Honeymoon, so it's not as if she had even seen the film. And I was like, okay, you're already winning. He has really won the hearts of a lot of people. He is good.
He's good.
At least for that character, he ate it. Like I had, so you know when you have a certain opinion about the character and you see another person give you something and you're like, because one of the questions he asked me was, or what I told him initially, I said, listen, let us discuss this character first. But I want to give you the free will to be able to play it the way you think this person should be. So first, let me explain to you who I believe this person is. Well, let me not hail myself so much. But one thing I always do with my work is adequate pre-production. I keep telling people that 70% of the work is done before we go and shoot. So when you spend time with them and you're able to have this conversation and make sure you have everything right and every department is ready. Because, like I say, chain is as strong as its weakest link. You have to make sure that everybody, not just the actors, even the crew members, everybody's bringing their A game. I believe it makes the work much easier. And the actors, like I said earlier, I have a lot of respect for Nigerian actors.
I'm still talking to Ekene Som-Mekwunye. He's the adjunct lecturer at School of Media and Communications at Atlantic University. He's also the CEO at Riverside Productions. He's done a lot of good jobs, and what we're talking about today is Honey Money. Why the high title Honey Money? I mean,
the most interesting thing for your title is that it's catchy, and a lot of people, once they hear Honey Money, are like, okay. And when you watch it, you know why it's Honey Money. So go watch it.
I was also intrigued when I watched the movie. I was also intrigued by the action, one situation action in a hotel. I want to compare that one location action shoot or directing that you did to what happened in One Lagos Night. Okay. I can remember, if you compare the two, I'm more excited with this other honeymoon action location. Because in One Lagos Night, it probably was the script, I don't know.
There's the script now.
But it wasn't as tight as this one.
And it's comedy.
But both are comedy.
Honeymoon is not comedy. It's just that, yes, we gave you a lot of comedic moments. It's a thriller, actually. But the essence is that we know our Nigerian audience like to laugh as well. And that's why we brought the likes of Iyabo Ojo to play that character. You know, and secondly too, it's not the same kind of story. These are the people in the main characters in One Lagos Night are not they are people that never even held a gun prior to this time. These other ones. This is what they do for a living. They are fraudsters, you know. So, and again, it could also be a matter of personal preference for you. But yeah, most of those things happen in that one location.
Perhaps like all men who watch the movie, I could see a bit of skin from Angelina. I don't always shy away from asking directors or producers.
Ask now.
How did you manage such a thing?
So people ask. I'll be very honest with you, and this is a lot of people. Because funny enough, even my wife was telling me that was it necessary, or was asking me. And again, I always say that art should imitate life. I can't be showing you a scene of people by the beach and they are putting on suits and dinner dress. Because when you're going to this beach, you are, usually, semi-naked, and so that's how it is when people are having sex. I don't know about that, but my understanding is that people are not having sex and they're just covering themselves like the way we like to. So it doesn't feel real to me when I watch a lot of those things. I want to, so I don't do things because, I just want to get some people riled up. It's what does it look like in real life situation for me? And this is what it looks like. And that's why I'm showing you what I feel it looks like. And if it offends you, then, well.
The reason why I'm asking this question is that a lot of these graphic scenes have made inroads into Nigerian movies in recent times. If you watch Shantytown, it was all graphics.
But what do you mean by they've made inroads into Nigerian
like
movies?
violence, sex.
But is it not what's happening?
Okay.
Is it not what is happening? Because you can't expect me. It's just like, sorry, I need to drag in another film into this. Like what some person about Gangs of Lagos. And I'm saying, did you watch Gangs of New York? Did you watch Gangs of London? If we're talking about gangs, what did you expect them to show? People doing arm wrestling? When I finished school, I was working at Igbo Shere in Sadeko. I witnessed some of these things. You know, I hear someone say, oh, we should show the beauty of Africa, the cultural part of Africa. And my mind is that all those films that show the beauty and cultural part of Africa, and none of them have people promoted. Did people even go to see? Because some people just like to be woke. And it irks me. Because at the end of the day, there are different kinds of stories. Mm-hmm. There are different kinds of stories. So first, you have to understand that. And if I'm telling a story about gangs, I'm not just going to show people
drinking.
I mean, it's what they do. It's just like this series, Sex Life on one of these platforms, and people are just shouting. I'm like, so what's the title of the movie again? Sex Life. What do you expect them to be doing? I don't get it.
No, our understanding, I also understand, and I want to believe I'm right. I might be wrong, I don't know. That commercialism from the West, from Anglo-American film industry, is beckoning on us to abandon. You might not like what I'm going to say.
No, say it.
That we should. I mean, there's something about African beauty. It doesn't have to be naked. We were naked, but we were not presumptuously naked. Let's put it that way.
Okay, but you agree we were naked?
We were naked.
So now, naked. Okay. So is there a way you shoot presumptuous naked and non-presumptuous naked? No, tell me now. Whether your own camera, when somebody is presumptuously naked and not presumptuous, there's a way that the camera. Come on now. Come on. Art imitates life.
You know what I feel?
It's not about feeling. It's reality.
In recent times, before movies like Honey Money, Shantytown came out, we saw a lot of graphic sex on social media, and it didn't sit well. You guys are doing a good job with Honey Money, Shantytown, Gangs of Lagos. Good interpretation. But I figure too, you're doing a good job in the sense that you figure out to use these graphic things to tell the story well.
Exactly. That's it. It's about the story at the end of the day. Because again, I don't show someone naked because you said something very important. You said commercialism. And for me, it wasn't because we're trying to make something commercial. Because funny enough, even in our trailers and our teasers, we didn't show it. So if it was something if I bet you, funny enough, can't think of it now, why didn't we even show it? Because I bet you if we had shown that in our teaser, it would have made a lot of people more interested. But we didn't. So it's not because we're trying to be commercial with it. It was, I'm telling a story about people doing something. If I'm telling a story and people are having sex in that story, I'm not good. Then what should I be showing them doing? I said, oh no, I'll now put voice over. They were doing something here, but we can't show you.
Let's talk about Nan.
And the people that criticize this in that, if you see what they are doing in their private lives, shaggy.
Let's talk about Nancy Sime. Good character. Why did she mellow in this one? Unlike the other ones that I've seen, right? She mellowed. No? A scene where she said she was going to play the shuttle. She said, "Me? Why should I do that? How did you?" She came through to me with a sense of, dignity. I mean, what's her role in all of this in terms of dignifying all these criminal acts that was happening?
Okay, so they were not the kind of they're not kind of fraudsters that wanted to be in the face of people. So at that part where she had to decline that was the fact that everyone has their breaking point. And she was like, to do what? I know.
Yeah, to a large extent, you're right, because I mean, these are scammers at a level.
Yes, that's,
Clean,
they always say
sedantic.
lay low, as much as you can, because that's the kind of scammers there.
I wonder where the scriptwriter's real life experience came from.
Funny enough, when you see the scriptwriter, he's nothing
Close to what?
It's just like, I was watching, I like to watch commentaries on some of these great movies. So watch commentaries on The Godfather, and Coppola was talking about him and Mariposo, how that they never saw mafia, they never ever saw mafia people. Everything was based on research. They never witnessed any of those things, So, and look at how well they told the story. I was listening to his commentary, and that part really got me. Like, are you kidding me? Like he said, they never spoke to any mafia person or really even witnessed mafia perform. These are just based on things that they read and research.
Yeah, research is very important.
And they're able to come up with this.
Research is very important.
But the beauty of this also mainly is the fact that, thank God that we don't have to pay to travel in our heads. Thank God that these things come free. So because of it, we are able to travel the world and spend time with so many people and do a lot of crazy things just in our heads. And you can't be arrested for it.
Yeah. Two last questions. First one is, do you think our juvenile reformation system is strong enough to mold young men and women away from crime? Are they still existing? And would it be good to say we could do a story around that? Anybody should do a story around that, because this is about crime, and crime has become very pervasive, and young people don't seem to have lost it. Do you think our reformation system or juvenile reformation system should be strengthened?
But even in developed countries like the US, they are still having this conversation, and these are people that have gone way ahead of us. So if they are still having the conversation, what do you want us to be saying? Definitely, there's a lot of work to be done. I think so. Fisayo, the investigative journalist, I reached out to him about a story he did, when he actually did go to prison to see what it was like, and and this is another thing that just gets me. His expose was amazing. You would not believe a lot of these things happen. Well, because I had one or two friends that had certain experiences, and that's how I got to understand some of these things that he said, but nobody's even saying anything about it. And I told him, it's something I would like to do. I'd like to do something on it. There's so much going on in our system that it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's as if people go to our prisons and even become more hardened.
That's why.
It's as if even if they were not criminals, they come out with criminality in their mind. So how is that reformation? It's not about changing the names from Nigerian prisons to Nigerian correctional services. It's not about the name. We changed from NEPA to PHCM.
And nothing good.
And so there's a lot to be done, really.
Perhaps you will start with parental orientation.
It starts from the home, but again, let's look at ourselves, really. Look at the average Nigerian, and look at what our leaders are doing. Look at this last elections. We don't even need to look far.
Let's forget that anyway. Can you remember some cute lines from these movies that, apart from rats wearing handcuffs?
Obi Bangkok gave us, and let me also say this. Some of the lines from Junior Pope, who played Obi Bangkok, were not in the script.
That's why I called your artists, the actors, the players in this film. They are good.
There are two things he said that got me. He said the streets were not made for everyone. That's why they made the sidewalks. Then he would say things like, if can cannot, can. He's an amazing person. awesome personality too.
So what's your director's statement with this movie? Social statement. Have you made any statement with this movie?
So during the premiere, a lot of times, virtually all the interviews I did, so what can people learn from this movie? What can people learn from this movie? And I tell them that I never make a movie for people because I want people to learn something. Yeah. If people want to learn something, they go to school or they go to church.
That's serious.
Yeah. That's where people go to learn things. The primary reason that I make films is to entertain my audience. Primary. Now, is that to say that you can't learn things from, I mean, of course, there are things we deliberately put. When you watch films like Light in the Dark, which was even my directorial debut, it was so packed that I remember one of the agencies telling me that we need families to watch this, or we need to watch this. But the main reason for making movies for me is to entertain my audience. Because I feel like where stories start to become boring is when you come with the mindset of I want to educate people. But when you come with the mindset, I need to entertain my audience, then in the entertainment, put something that they can learn.
So what have you put here?
I was about to say crime doesn't pay, but let me tell you one interesting thing. When they did Scarface, the purpose for making Scarface was to deter people from going into drugs and going into the drug business. After Scarface was released, Al Pacino did so well that the people that got into the drug business doubled. The number of people doubled. So what I often say is this. It's not so much as me educating you, because people would always pick what they want to learn from something. So that's why I can show a movie to 10 people and tell 10 people, what did you learn? And they'll tell me 10 different things.
Of course, it's supposed to be so.
A lot of times we see not based on what is, but from who we are, from our own standpoint.
Sure.
So I will do my best, but at the end of the day, people choose what they want.
That's a good one. I've been talking to Ekene Som-Mekwunye. He's an adjunct lecturer at School of Media and Communications, Atlantic University, Lagos. He's also the CEO at Riverside Productions. Like I said before, this guy has made so many movies. Should I allow you to talk about your movie?
Well, maybe not so much. I haven't really done, I mean, in terms of feature films.
Okay.
So my first, but I was a producer, is Sylvia. Then my directorial debut in the feature film was Light in the Dark. Then I did one Lagos night that my company partnered with WAZOBIA. And we have How to Love Me, that is on Prime Video. Then Honey Money, that's just been released in cinema. So that's just it. I haven't done so much like that.
You know what? You say you don't make statements, but when I watched The Encounter, you made a statement.
Okay.
So we'll come to the close of Filmtalk. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You can always see us on Facebook and Instagram, and www.filmlab.ng and www.web.ng. It's been an impressive talk with you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.